Hello students, welcome again to this e-learning session. So today we are going to deal with the poem 2.4, Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? Okay, so if you have your textbooks, you can open it. So before beginning with this poem, Have You Earned Your Tomorrow by Edgar Guest. The name of the poet is Edgar Guest. So before starting with the poem, there are some icebreakers. So before every lesson or every poem, there are icebreakers. Means it makes us think. It is just preparation before starting with any prose lesson or poetry. So it makes it easy for you to understand that particular text or that poem easily. Now the first iceberg breakers is complete the web. So in front of uh, you, that is in the slide, different ways to help others is given. Okay. So what are the different ways through which we can help people? Okay. What are the different methods or ways through which we can help people? Uh, we can just complete that web. First is financial help. We can help people by giving them money. And in second square box, we can say helping the old and the blind to cross the road. Or third box, offer some form of support, at least moral support. And in fourth box, giving food and clothes to the needy. So in this way, we can complete that web chart. It also comes in the question paper or the activity sheet in the form of complex factual question. So these are the different ways. Or you can write any other way of helping the people. Helping means it is charity. So every person should have charity. If you don't have charity, there is no use of going to church or temple or mosque or any other holy place if you don't have charity, if you don't have a feeling or an urge to help others. But when you help others or when you show see that you help others without making noise, means when you help people, you should not show off or tell people that I am donating this, I am donating that. Or on TV or in news, we see that people donate a lot of gold, silver to the temples in the name of God. But is that acceptable to God? Certainly not. Because when you donate something, when you give some charity to the temple or the people, it should be without noise. Means you should not tell that you are donating something. So in the Bible, it is written now when you give something, when you give alms or when you donate something, you donate secretly. Means your left hand should not know what your right hand is giving. So Saint Kabir also says no that you should help others, but you should not expose it. You should not tell that I am donating. So it should be very secret or it should be very confidential when you help somebody. Okay. So in this way, you can complete that web given by filling up information. Then discuss with your partner about different idioms, proverbs related to the word tomorrow. One is done for you. Now see that these are the proverbs or idioms. First is never put off until tomorrow what you can do it today. Then other proverbs we are supposed to fill. I'm just giving you an example. So it is a Japanese proverb. Second one is the Japanese proverb. Tomorrow's battle is won during today's practice. I'll repeat. Tomorrow's battle is won during today's practice. Number third, today must not borrow from tomorrow. Today must not borrow from tomorrow. So it is a German proverb. Next one, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. These are the 3 days of man. I'll repeat, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. These are the 3 days of man. So this is the Chinese proverbs. So on internet or on Google, you can find lot of idioms phrases related to the word tomorrow. So you can go through that Google and find out the words related or the proverbs or idioms related to the word tomorrow. Then next, when you make your future plans, you think of. So as you are in 12th standard, you might be thinking that what is going to be next, what are my future plans, in which things I'll make my career. So different questions comes to your mind and you plan accordingly. You plan your future. So when you want to make a future plan, what things come to your mind? One is career is given there, then higher studies. Second is higher studies. After 12th, what? That is higher studies. Then next, your jobs. What kind of job you'll get? What courses have more scope? Like that. So there is a long list. Then you have retirement plans, financial security, family plan, goal in life to be accomplished. So these are the things which come in our mind when you plan for a future. The next icebreaker is plan your tomorrow by completing the table given below. Now you can see there, no? Examination, college function, and function at your home. So there are three columns given there. And that first is examination. How will you plan your examination, board examination? First, you complete the portion syllabus given. You read the text and all that, or any other material related to that particular text. That is completion of portion or the text or the syllabus. The next point is you try to clear the doubts, whatever doubts you have regarding that lesson, particular lesson or particular text. You try to clear those doubts. And lastly, at the end, you revise. No, that is given there. Your revision, you do your revision. Then next is college function. When there is college function, what do you do? First, it is given there, preparing the list of duties. Okay. Then next point is you distribute jobs, portfolios. Distributing jobs, portfolios to different students, like that. Then next is confirm date, time with the invited guest. You confirm date and time with the guest whom you have invited. So when you fill up the table now, see that you don't write in long sentences, full sentences. You have to write or complete the table, complete the web in minimum number of words. If you try to write or complete the web or the table in full sentence, the examiner will feel that you haven't understood the passage or poem, like that. Okay. The next column is function at your home. When there is a function at your home, what you do? First, you clean the house, cleaning the house, arrangement for invitees, sitting arrangement for the invitees or the guest, Then third, preparation and service of food. What kind of food you are going to serve, or what type of service you are going to give to the invitees or the people. And last point, sitting arrangement of the guest. So this way you can complete the table in minimum number of words. Now, as we have finished up with the icebreakers, we will directly go towards the introduction of the poet Edgar Guest, who has written this poem, Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? Edgar Guest, born 1881 to 1959, was born in England and was brought to the United States when he was 10 years old. He began his career in 1895 at the age of 14. Okay? Means he started his career as a writer at the age of 14. He started his career as a copy boy. He began writing poems under the heading Chaff Daily. The poems were written under the heading Chaff, Chaff, Chaff Daily, for 30 years. So, my friends, if you have any talent or gift which God has given to you, you'll have to check it. Whether you are good in sports, or whether you are good in writing poetry, or whether you are good in writing novel, you should check your potential or capabilities and try to explore it, try to improvise it. Now see, Edgar Guest started writing these poems or writing as a career at the age of 14. You also know the story of Michael Dell, who has his own company of computers, PCs. So this man, he bought BMW car at the age of 17, cash. Now why I'm telling you this, that because you should try to see what you have in you. If you have an idea, Michael Dell always said, if you have an idea, you should try it. So he had an idea, he tried it, and now he becomes a successful businessman in selling the PCs or computers. And at the age of 17, he bought a BMW car cash. So when you go through the poem or lesson, you'll see at the back of the lesson or poem, the career opportunities are given. In my last lectures in summary writing, I have explained what is summary, but at the end you are you are asked to see what career opportunities are there in editing or summarizing. That you go and find out. So scoring marks is one thing, but at the same time, we should find career opportunities which are given in the textbook at the end of every lesson, at the end of every poem. Like that poem is there, a 2.3-inch Cape Rock. At the end of that, on page number 110, you'll find uh, girls can join Indian Navy. And then there they have shown what type of posts are there, designations are there, what qualification is required. If the girls want to join Indian Navy, you go through that. Okay. So Edgar Guest started his career of writing at the age of 14. Then he wrote more than 11,000 poems. How many? He wrote more than 11,000 poems. Edgar Guest is known as people's poet. Why? Because his style was simple and optimistic tone of writing. His simple style and optimistic tone of writing gave him the title as People's Poet. Guest is an American writer of newspaper and magazines. Now, this is an inspirational poem. The poem which we are going to see is an inspirational and optimistic poem. In this poem, the speaker is asking the readers whether they have done anything to improve the life of another human being or not. So here the poet asks in this poem that have you done something good to improve the life of a human being? Therefore, one should consider one's actions and deeds carefully. So whatever action you do, action and deed is the same. Whatever actions you do, whatever words you speak. So when you do any action or when you speak any word, you should be careful and plan accordingly for better future. Okay? Then I would like to mention some of the poems written by Edgar Guest. So Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? This poem is written in 1916. Then there are other poems also. A Heap of Living in 1916. Just Folks in 1917. When Day is Done, 1921. The Path to Home, 1919. Why I Go to Church, 1929. So these are some of the poems which he has written. But in all, he has written 11,000 poems. Then next, we move on to next. That is, these are the vocabulary or the meanings we can say. Toiling time, that is time spent in hard physical work. That is there in your textbook. The question is there, how do you greet your elders? The next is churlish. Churlish means rude. Next is howdy. Howdy is something an informal, friendly greeting. And last is throng. That is crowd or a large number. Now, before we begin with this poem, have you earned tomorrow? When you read the title, it is little bit confusing or a complicated one, no? The poet asks, have you earned your tomorrow? So we try to earn name, fame, respect. Normally, people try to earn name or fame or respect in the society, or they try to earn money. But the title arouses curiosity. When I read or when you read the title, have you earned your tomorrow? You become curious or you start thinking. That is, what does the poet wants to convey through this line? Or what is the meaning of the title? So if you glance through the poem, you'll see when you look at the first stanza, you'll find in the first stanza there are three questions asked. And they are not just questions, they are probing questions. Probing means whose answers are primarily subjective or they are personal. Hmm. Probing question means they make us think. The thought process starts. When you read the title of this poem, Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? Your thought process starts. So these are the probing questions throughout the poem. The poem is inspirational and optimistic that we have seen in the introduction of the poet. They are inspirational. The poem is inspirational as well as it is optimistic. It states goodness of behavior and kindness of heart. And if you go through the poem, you'll see the poem's theme is same as that of the lesson on saying please. On saying please theme and this poem's theme, have you on tomorrow, is somewhat same. That is, we must respect others. We should not use blasphemous words. We should help others. We must be polite, and we should take care of the fellow beings. Because at the end, God is watching us. You know, the poem is related to Christianity, or we can say Christian belief. That is, God will judge you according to the words and deeds before giving you eternal life. That is the Christian belief that in the end, no, God will judge us and He will give us eternal life only if our actions, if our words are proper, if our actions are just. Throughout our life, if we have helped any person or we try to make his or her life comfortable, so words, actions are very important as far as Christianity is concerned. So in this poem, Edgar Guest relates this poem to Christianity or a Christian belief. Now, we will go through this poem line by line. Now, first line itself is a question or a probing question. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? So, question is asked. It is a direct question which is asked to the reader that is anybody happier because you passed his way? That is, when you meet or come across your friend or stranger, or you just pass away of any person, or you just encounter any person, does he or she feel happy or get inspired when you come in contact with that person? Is it okay? So, does your presence make that person happy? Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Just passing the way of that person. You just cross that person. So, in our day to day life, when we leave our homes, we come across many people. Some are friends, some are strangers. So, thousands of people, hundreds of people, they pass by. Out of those hundreds of people, is there at least one person who feels happy, delighted because you passed his way? The poet doesn't want that you should make happy all the people that you come across. He's just using the word anybody, at least one. Is there at least one person who is happy or delighted because you passed his way, because you came in contact with that person, because you encountered that person? So when you read that first line, you'll find that it is a probing question, means your thought process starts. Did my presence made the person happy or not? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? Is there anyone whom you spoke remembers your words or what you spoke? So during the daytime, you speak to many people. Many people come in contact with you. You speak to them. You communicate with them. There is a lot of conversation. But do they remember what you spoke? Or is there anyone who feels like remembering what you spoke to him or her? Or does he like to recall the words you spoke? Means the words that you speak should be kind. So we like to remember the words of any person which give us inspiration or which give us hope, happiness. So the poet asks a question that does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? Is there a single person who feels that whatever you spoke to him is remembered by him long after you have gone? So means the words that you speak should be kind. If not, you have to introspect. If your presence is not making people happy, or if your words that you speak are not remembered by the people who don't like to remember, then there is a time to introspect. Then there is time to change yourself. Then there is time to improvise in your behavior. And you should be very careful about your words, about your deeds, about your actions. He or she must feel like remembering your words, or he or she must like to share your words. So, when you speak to any of the person, that person should remember what you have spoken. Means when that person will go home, he should tell others, he should tell the family members about the inspiring word, inspirational words, kind words that you have spoken to him. Then the third line, this day is almost over and its toiling time is through. So as you know, throughout the day we work hard. Toiling means this is a kind of physical work. The day's work is over. It is night time. Toiling time is through. We have worked hard throughout the day. We have done all sorts of activities. We met people, we worked hard, we did our jobs. But at the end of the day, when the day is over, last line, fourth line, is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? So when the day is over, when the toiling time is over, is there anyone, at least a single person? See now, poet is not asking that you should make every person happy or every person should remember your words, but at least one. You should do favor to at least one person, single person. So, is there anyone, at least a single person, who is willing to praise you for your kind word or your kind deed? Or does he like to repeat the words you spoke? Utter means the word utter is means to say. Is anyone praising you at the back? Is there anyone who likes to recall what you said to him? Is there anyone who likes to share your thoughts or words which you have spoken to him? Is there anyone who likes to remember your words, your kind words, your inspiring words? That you have to check. And if not, now is the time to introspect and you change your attitude. Then first stanza we have seen. Then next stanza. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? So we come across many people, no, throughout our day. Then there are friends whom we come in contact. So the poet again is asking a question. Now this poem is full of questions. Every question makes us think. Every question makes us introspect, atma parikshan. And then we try to change ourselves. We try to change our attitude. We try to change our thinking and behaving. So first line, the second stanza, did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along? Have you greeted your friend cheerfully? Or did you frown at him? If not, if you have not greeted your friend cheerfully, you should greet him. You should start greeting your friends with smile or in a cheerful mood. Then second, or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng. Have you greeted your friend with a smile or you just gave a churlish sort of howdy? Churlish means rude. Churlish is rude. Sort of howdy. Howdy is it is an informal, friendly greeting. That is pretend not to notice and then vanish in the throng. You just gave a rude kind of expression, an informal kind of greeting. You try to avoid your friend and then you vanish. Vanish means disappear. You disappeared in the throng. Throng means crowd. So here in the first two lines, the poet wants to tell us that have you greeted your friend with smile, or you just gave a rude kind of expression and you just went away. You just disappeared in the crowd, or you try to pretend not to notice your friend. So the poet here makes us think through these probing questions. What kind of questions are there? They are probing questions. So when you do this to your friend, when you frown at your friend, when you give rude expressions, or when you try to neglect your friend, so that is a mental pain. You know, mental pain is more painful than the physical pain. So if you do like this, you stop. So did you greet your friend rudely and vanished in the crowd? So are you habitual? Do you have the habit of doing all sorts of things? If you are doing this type of things, then you should stop. There is a time, there is high time to change your behavior. Okay. Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Did you behave selfishly with him or with any other type of person? Or did you try to avoid him or her? So, in the third line, the poets ask, were you selfish? If not, it's okay. But if you are selfish, then you should change. So, we are going through this pandemic, no? So, many people have helped the NGOs and the social workers. They help people in this pandemic, like giving food, clothes, to the people who are in need. So charity should be there, no? We should help others in time of difficulties. We should help poor. They don't have any sources to earn money. So in this high time of pandemic, we should help people, those who are suffering from hunger or financial problems or any kind of diseases or problems. So we should help them because God is watching, no? God is watching us. God is watching our actions, our words which we speak. So this poem has a very spiritual touch. So in the third line he says, "Now were you selfish, pure, and simple as you rushed along the way? Have you went away without helping others, or did you treated your friend with a smile, or you gave a rude kind of expression, or were you selfish and you just ran away in order to fulfill your needs?" Okay, last line. Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Very important line. See? Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Deed. Deed meaning is action. Or is there anyone who is grateful? Grateful means thankful, gratitude. Is there anyone who wants to express gratitude because of the action or because of the deed you did today? Were your actions and gestures you did today made anyone grateful? Is there at least one single person who expressed gratitude or who said thank you for your actions you did today or for the act of kindness you did today? So the second stanza inquires into friendly greeting and kind actions, or we can say good actions. So we should be careful. The poem says that we should be careful when you are in the company of others. Your presence should make people happy, or you should help others in their difficulties. You should greet your friends uh, with a smile. So all these things are very important in life. So all these are the questions which the poet puts in order to make us think, or in order to introspect, or in order to make changes in our attitude or in our behavior. So this is the first uh, half of the poem which we have studied. Then in the next lecture we will see about the of the second half of the poem that we'll see in the next lecture.